you do look like the golden couple. You come down those stairs there. You've written this book, Victoria, called Learning to Fly, which is your autobiography. And I was very attracted by something you said in the introduction to it, that you've written it to actually make sense of what's happened. What exactly do you mean by that?
That dedication I actually wrote to my family. I think that so much has changed over all the years, not just the way that I have to live my life, but the way they have to live their lives. And I just wanted to try and explain it. You know, I can be a pain in the neck. I have a roller coaster of emotions, and my mum is always there at the brunt of it, really. And I think it's hard for people to actually understand what I go through, what David goes through. But I just thought the book would try and explain that.
And is there of course, too, I would imagine, there's a sense in which you wrote the book to set the story right. Because you're the most gossiped about couple in the world, and you can't open a newspaper without you being there in some form or other, some story or other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was, rather than to set the record straight, it was me saying that the truth is, you know, available, if you like. You know, I think that a lot of people can benefit from this book. You know, I'm hoping that children will find it inspiring. I think there's lots of women that will be able to relate to things that I've written about in the book.
In what sense do you think you're a good role model? I mean, why? Here you are with lots of pots of money. You've got a sex symbol husband who owns a fortune. You've got a big mansion. I mean, that's not typical, is it?
No, it's not typical. I mean, I think that my message behind my book, you know, to lots of children out there is, if you want to do something and you work hard enough, you can achieve that. Look at me. You know, I've never claimed to be the best singer or the best dancer, but I've worked really, really hard, the same as I did when I was at school. And I think there are so many young children that's dreams get trampled on. And, you know, I remember being at school and saying, I want to be a dancer when I grow up. And they said, well, come on, what do you really want to do? So it's me saying...
Why do they say that to you? Why?
Because I think that it was a bit out of the ordinary.
And also, you were not the right shape, were you? You were a dumpy child.
I was a bit dumpy, but you can have dumpy dancers.
Well, no, yes, the roly-polies.
Exactly, there you go, flying.
So, I suppose from that point of view, it is. But David, what about you? You read this book, did you, from beginning?
I'm halfway through it at the moment.
Yeah.
I must say,
at least he's honest.
He reads it, and we're lying in bed, and he'll be reading the book, and he'll just look at me like that. And I'm like, oh God, what have I said?
But what I mean, do you feel that you've been misperceived, if you like, that people have got the wrong idea about the two?
I think in some ways, because there is so much, you know, publicity that surrounds both of us. You know, people read things and people have got different feelings about us both, and that's why it's good. You know, I done the book last year, which was just a picture book. You know, it wasn't the autobiography like Victoria's done. So that's why it's nice for people to go out and they can read the truth if that's what they want.
But what do you think, what do you want to put straight most of all? I mean, what is the thing that really annoys you about the image that the press have of you, the media?
I think that, I mean, I would never complain at what the press say. I think you cannot mess around with publicity and ask when you have it and when you don't have it. But I think that people do pick up newspapers, do read things, and I think that people do paint a picture of you, and I think it's people's preconceptions.
But like what?
I think they think I'm a miserable cow in high heels and I just go down Bond Street all the time. Not that there's anything wrong in that, but, you know, come on. All the ladies out there know that.
Any miserable cows who shop down Bond Street are watching the programme. I'm not about that.
See, I always do it. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's me trying to get across that, yes, okay, so I am married to David, you know, I'm very, very lucky. But at the same time, I'd like to think that people can relate to me. I'm a normal girl, I'm a working mum, you know, I'm working very hard and I'm trying to raise a family at the same time.
Do they think you're too pushy, perhaps? Is that what they think?
A bit too pushy? I'm sure some people do.
Why are you laughing?
Shut up, David. You was waiting for that, weren't you? We've seen the comedy sketches, you see. We've got that off to a fine art now.
Well, I mean, you won a lot of fans by doing the Ali G interview, because I mean, the one thing about you is that you don't actually take yourselves seriously in that point of view. You're able to laugh at yourselves.
You have to. There are so many people out there having fun, you know.
Yes. Yes, but going back to this thing about image, do you feel that David is perhaps has a better public persona, image than you have?
I think he does have now. I don't think that he did a few years ago, and I think that sometimes when you can get...
The last time you said that Victoria's got this wonderful capacity for putting her foot in it. I mean, did you say to her, when she came out tonight, look, for God's sake, you know...
I always say it to her.
You do, do you?
She just doesn't listen.
No. I mean, on the touchy subject again, which you touched upon in your book, about Sir Alex Ferguson, did you say to her, look, for God's sake, don't upset the boss?
I've said that to her, obviously.
Yes.
You know, I think we've both got to be careful what we say about each other's bosses, but at the end of the day, you know, she's got a great relationship with Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson. You know, whatever anyone writes or whatever anyone says, the relationship with her and the boss has never been a problem.
But she says that in 4 years' time, as if you're not here, you say in the book that in 4 years of knowing him, all he's ever said to you is hello. I mean, are you getting the message now?
I mean, I think that there are certain things in the book that I had to address
Yes, of course.
with Alex Ferguson because it had been mentioned in his book, it had been mentioned in the tabloids. You know, I don't necessarily at the time have agreed with everything he's done, but I can look back and see why he's done that. That's why he's such a successful manager and why so many people respect him. And you know, me and him, you know, get on fine, and yeah, maybe all we have said is hello to each other, but then he doesn't sing songs, I don't kick football, so maybe we don't have a lot to...
No, in common. But do you have a pet nickname for him?
Fergie. I'm only joking.
No. What comes over in the book too? I mean, it's a nice story. You have this dumpy kid with low self-esteem who went out and really grafted and worked. I mean, you did some curious jobs. You were a sort of model and you used to go out on the street selling products and this sort of thing. Well, selling products. And what comes to is your determination at all costs to actually succeed. I mean, is that a sort of a message that you hope comes across to kids? Because a lot of kids think that people just become famous overnight, don't they?
Yeah, I think that people don't realise that it's all about hard work. I mean, I worked hard when I was at school. I've always had it in my personality to want to succeed, you know, even when it was, you know, I want to do my homework right. But yeah, I mean, I'm one of these people, you know, when someone kicks me, you know, I try hard to get up again. Because I know what I want to do. I love what I do at the end of the day. I know that I'm putting myself up for criticism. I'm very much aware of that. But I love what I do.
And the other thing that comes through in the book too is the deep affection, love that the two of you have for each other, and the way that you're very family-centred. But when you first met him, when you first met the two of you, I mean, was it like bow, wham, smack? I mean, did you think, oh God, this is the guy, this is the girl I'm going to get married to and live the rest of my life with? David?
I felt that, yeah.
Did you?
Definitely. You did, I hope, didn't you?
Yeah, was it really like that?
It was definitely, as soon as I see her, you know, I didn't even have to meet her. I see her on the telly and I just wanted to meet her. You know, I just fancied her. So it was just a case of getting together then.
And you obviously weren't disappointed when you got together?
Definitely not.
And similar for you, Victoria?
Yeah.
What, disappointed?
No, I mean, I knew as soon as I met him. I mean, one of the most attractive things I found with David is that he shared the same sort of family values as me. You know, he was sitting there with his family, and I really liked that. And he's a very kind person, and we're really good friends on top of everything.
What's been the lowest? That's the nice part of the marriage. What's been the lowest part of the marriage? There's a piece in the book which is quite moving actually, and it's about when the media accused David of having an affair. Tell us about that.
That was probably one of the most difficult things to actually write in the book. Obviously, it's lovely writing all the nice things that have happened, but that's very difficult. I mean, it was a really traumatic time for both of us. You know, I was pregnant at the time, and I think that a few girls wanted to launch a modelling career, so decided to drag David's name into that. And you know, I think that you took it to court, didn't you? A couple of the cases, but
it wasn't
really
true, the story.
No,
but nonetheless, it was in the papers. It was printed, and it affected your relationship.
It did for a while. I mean, as much as you can trust someone and someone can say, honestly, I haven't done this, I don't know this person, as much as you want to believe that person, they've still put that element of doubt in your mind, you know, and people can say what they want about me. But David is the one person, and Brooklyn, that is mine. you know, people can't touch and won't touch. And so when somebody tries to cause problems in that area, I mean, that's how it gets me.
You acting?
Right, I have acting.
3 times.
3 times? Yeah. Hurt you?
Yeah, of course, but I was hurting anyway.
Yeah. In fact, hurting so much that you were very depressed, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well, how depressed were you? What did you?
Well, we went away for the weekend after that, and obviously the worst thing for me was seeing Victoria hurting so much. That hurt me more than anything, you know, and trying to prove my innocence to someone that's hearing it from everyone else that I'm up to something, and then trying to prove that is hard, you know, and trying to prove your innocence when you know full well that there's nothing that's gone on. And that was the hardest thing. And then, you know, we tried to get away for a few days just to sort of be together and be away from everything. And it sort of, it was good, but it was bad because we was away and we was on our own, and there was times where I was on my own in the room, and it was very depressing, and it was very hard.
You're looking out the window thinking,
Oh, well, we was on the edge of Lake Como, so it was very tempting, but...
I actually took that out of the book, though.
Did you? I haven't actually got to that part yet in the book.
It's surprising, really. It's a very interesting part of the book. I hope you've got time to finish this book, you know, before too long.
I know. Well, yeah.
Now, let's go back then again to this business about your life together, because no matter how much you try to make it ordinary and normal for Brooklyn and to yourself, you can't, can you?
Not totally, but I think that, I mean, obviously Brooklyn, I want him to grow up as much like a normal little boy as you can, but obviously that's never going to be totally possible. I mean, we don't surround ourselves with huge entourages. You know, I go to work, I take Brooklyn with me, I drive myself, we go home and we shut our doors and nobody comes in our house. You know, I like to do normal things, like take him to the park, take him swimming.
But you can't trust anybody, can you?
No, I mean, trusting, especially now after things that have happened, is very, very difficult. But I'm in a very fortunate position with my family. I have my family and David's family who help out so much with Brooklyn. That I personally think I would find it hard to trust anybody with Brooklyn now other than immediate family.
After what happened, I mean, I won't go into that, but it's in the book, but it would take too long to talk about. But you talk in the book, there's a phrase that you used about living in this bubble of fear.
Bubble Beckham.
Bubble Beckham. Bubble and golden balls, eh? that's your second volume of your autobiography. But tell me what you mean by that. I mean, what is the most fearful, or what has been the most fearful part of that?
I think that, you know, I wrote in the book how I have received lots of death threats. That kind of thing's very frightening because with everything that goes on, I mean, it really makes you put things into perspective and make you realise what is important to you, what matters and what doesn't. So I'd say that's probably the most frightening thing. Because you do have to continue your life. These people do these things to try and stop that happening. But, you know, you have to be sensible about it, know what you can do, know what you can't do, and carry on.
How much does this affect you, David, this day-to-day business of being David Beckham and Victoria Beckham? I mean, how much does it affect you? You seem to be a very relaxed guy. I mean, are you really that relaxed?
I am quite relaxed, to be honest. I'm a little bit more relaxed than Victoria.
You?
I let things go over my head more than, you know, than I let them get to me. Obviously it's hard because, you know, the attention we do get is, you know, full on every day. You know, there's not a day where there's not something in the news about us. So it is hard, but that's why we are a strong family together, the three of us. You know, and we've got a strong family around us with our mum and dads and every one of our family. You know, so it's easy to get away from things with them.
But let me ask you this. I mean, some people would say that you actually attract publicity, that you do things to get in the newspapers. I mean, let's take for instance your appearance. Let's take your, I mean, the haircut. I mean, did you wake up one morning and say, I'm going to do a Robert De Niro, a taxi driver, and this will get in the newspapers? Or do you just say...
I didn't turn around to Victoria and said, look, I'm going to do this haircut, I just want to get in the papers for something. You know, it wasn't something that, it was just something that I wanted to do. You know, I'd seen the hairstyle probably a year ago, and I fancied doing it then, but it wasn't the right time, and I just felt that, you know, I had to do it at one point.
What about shaving the eyebrow, though? I mean, what gave you that idea?
I don't know. I think it's just fads you go through. You know.
It makes it more aerodynamic.
Usually,
I mean, there's a mad side to you, isn't there? There's a crazy side to you.
yeah, there is. But no, it's just a fad. You know, usually you go through that stage at about 16 or 17. You know, it's I'm going through it at 26. So it's, no, you know, it wasn't something that I'd done to get publicity.
No. And being captain of England now, I mean, you would see that as being a real accolade, wouldn't you? A real compliment.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that it makes you very sort of happy about the future.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think to be captain of an England team at this point in time, where we're doing so well, is just one of the best honours that I could have ever been given in football. When I had the phone call early in the morning from Peter Taylor to tell me that I was captain of the full squad, you know, it took a minute for it to sort of actually sink through. And then once I rang up Victoria, you know, she couldn't believe it, because obviously everyone knows about what happened 2 or 3 years ago, you know, and to come through that. And
what did you decide to do? I mean, all right, 3 years ago, this hate figure because of tapping that Argentinian, who asked for it, by the way. I thought you'd let him off lightly, but nonetheless, you're reviled. What did you decide to do? Just sit it out and prove them wrong?
Yeah, I think that's been my mentality through my whole life. You know, I've had knocks at certain points in my career, and it's just my way of getting over it. You know, I want to show people that I can be the best and do the best that I can for my club and my country. You know, and it's taken up till probably I was given the captaincy to prove that I can do it at international level. And it's given me that extra responsibility that I've actually enjoyed so much.
Great. Now, you're not only living with a sex symbol, you're living with the captain of England, so be careful now.
Okay.
She doesn't deal with this in the book, by the way, David, the bit you've not read. Right? let me ask a couple of questions. Let me ask you. Are you going to have any more Brooklyns?
I hope so. I mean, I think for both of us, you know, family is the most important thing, and I'd love to have a huge family, and at Christmas have a big old Christmas tree in the hallway, and that's my ultimate goal, you know, but not just yet, because I'm a little bit busy.
Oh, because the second question was I was going to ask you if you were pregnant, because the press have been speculating today around our office that you are, calling us up.
No, I have to say no. Sorry, babe. I'm not.
All right, now let's talk about this solo album that you've done now, because this again is a big moment in your career, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because this is you not being Posh Spice, but being yourself, Victoria Beckham. And indeed, the album is called that, isn't it?
It is.
Just Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent the last 18 months working on this album. There are 12 tracks, 9 of them I've written myself. And I'm very excited about it. I mean, it's a really good album. I'm very happy. Yeah. I don't know.
Are you fighting again what we're talking about at the beginning of this interview? All kinds of perceptions about you with this album.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I know that I face, that I've been facing for a long time, is that people do find it difficult to take me seriously as a solo artist, which, you know, I suppose I can understand, and people want me to prove that I can do it live. They want to... I'm constantly having to prove myself, and I'm very much aware of that. I'm not expecting, you know, my album to come out and to be huge at the start, because people know Posh Spice, they know Posh and Becks, but they don't know Victoria Beckham. They don't know what my music's like.
What parts did David play in this?
He inspired me a lot with my writing, and also it was David that actually got me round to doing it.
In what way?
Well, you know, she looks a confident person. But then, you know, at home, she wasn't confident about doing the solo album, you know, and she needed a little bit of a push. So I'll give her a little bit of a push.
but you're not pop isn't your kind of music, is it?
No, it's not my kind of music, but her album's actually made it into my car, so it's...
Is it?
No, it's
along with what? What does she compete with in your car?
Tupac. Maxwell, things like that. So it's a different range of music, but it's a great album, and I'm really proud of her what she's done, because she's worked so hard. And going back to Sir Alex Ferguson, that's the similarities that they've both got. They work so hard to succeed, and they've got such determined attitudes towards their work, that's what they've got in common. And that is why they'll both, well, Sir Alex Ferguson succeeded, Victoria succeeded, but in a solo career, Victoria will succeed.
I think you're just doing yourself a lot of good with the gaffer there, actually, David. And you too, yeah. Well, thanks for talking to me. Stick around, we've got other guests coming on. But in the meantime, Victoria and David Beckham, thank you very much indeed. Victoria and David Beckham. In the history of modern football, my next guest was the first man to combine soccer and showbiz. He was the game's first superstar. He was called the fifth Beatle. It's all there in the life. Back to basics, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Piano, bass and drums.
Piano, bass, drums, guitar, bit of organ. Like a nice organ. Yeah. Reginald Dixon was my favourite.
Yeah. He's coming through the floor, didn't he, Reginald Dixon?
Yes.
With his organ.
Yeah, with his organ, yeah.
Riding on his organ, yes. So, tell me about the record then. I mean, why back to this simplest form of where you started?
Well, I heard an album last year by a 25-year-old guy called Ryan Adams, and it was recorded in 14 days, and it was very beautifully recorded, very simple, recorded on analog tape, which is different to digital and has a much warmer sound. And I thought, I used to make records like this, this is really good. And I managed to track him down, and I went to see him live, and I've interviewed him for a magazine. And Bernie and I got together last year and said, you know, you can lose track of where you are. And I said, the thing I do best is play the piano, write songs, do it simply, and let's take a leaf out of Ryan Adams' book. In fact, he's the first thank you on my album. To Ryan Adams, thank you for making me do better.
But it's what Victoria was saying earlier on, isn't it? The sense of the public losing the sense of who you are. You become somebody else.
When Bernie and I sat down and talked about this album, I said, listen, Mr. Torpin, it's, when people talk about me, it's either about the hair, the flowers, my sexuality, the Lion King, the football club.
Let me cross these off one by one.
Right, and they never talk about the bloody records anymore. And it's like, you know, there's something wrong with that.
But does that mean we're going to lose the other album then? I mean that one that we've come to know and love, the one you've just ticked off.
It means that there'll soon be a Mrs. Mills type album coming out, as I get even more back to basics. You'll never lose the flamboyant side of me. I am who I am. And I have a fantastic life, and I've had a wonderful life. And listening to George, I mean, David's a hero of mine, but I was asked recently, I did a football programme before the season started. I was interviewed, and they said, who was the best footballer you ever saw? And it was a really hard one, because, I mean, I've seen Pele, I've seen Puskás, Garrincha, Beckenbauer, Bobby Moore, Bobby Charlton. But I had to say the best
David
footballer.
Beckham.
Yeah, but I mean, the best footballer I've ever seen in my life was George Best, and I said that unequivocally.
The best all-round player.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get very protective of David and Victoria's wine. We're quite good friends.
Yes. Did you advise her on because she's been very nervous about the album that she's done? I mean,
well, she borrowed those shoes from me for a start.
You think he's kidding?
You may laugh out there. I get concerned. I know it's not easy it's much harder for a woman in this business than it is for a man. I mean, I think it's tougher. And I'm very protective of both of them, and I like them. They're really good friends. And yeah, if I can give them any advice, or if she wants some advice from me, she'll always, I'm free 24 hours a day.
You've written the book for all the things we've been talking about. I mean, alcoholism and addiction and fame and this price all. I mean,
except for playing on the right wing, yes.
You've done all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting about you, I've always thought throughout your career, is that you've actually, I think this is why the public like you so much, is that you've actually faced all your demons as they've come along. You've not run away from any of them. You've confronted them and you've said, this is it, this is
this is it. Yeah.
And that must have taken some doing, some guts. I mean, on the business of your sexuality. I mean, you did it at a time when it wasn't, if you like, fashionable.
I remember when it broke in the English paper. We were at Rochdale. We were in the 4th Division. I was in Edinburgh, and I was flying down to Manchester. I was in Edinburgh or Glasgow, and my mother came into the room with a newspaper. She said, "This will be interesting this afternoon." I said, yes, it was. So, at that time, Mike Keane was the manager, and we were in the 4th division before Graham Taylor. I was chairman of the club, and it was, I went down there and I thought, oh God, this is the last thing I want. But, you know, he took me aside and said, listen, we've seen the papers, the players don't give, you know, you're the chairman of our club, we'll support you and whatever. And it was fantastic. I mean, I was so relieved about that because football has been a huge part of my life. I mean, as a kid, I sat on the touchline at Fulham because my cousin Roy Dwight was a player. And so, you know, Watford has given me some of the best years and the most memorable experiences that I'll ever have. And to be accepted like that, not only by the team, but most of the crowds who've given me some stick. But it makes, you know, if you don't, it's the humour that's amazing.
Like what?
Well, like don't sit down while Elton's around. Oh, you'll get a penis up your arse. Yeah, and you're sitting, and that was at Halifax. That was at, it was, you know. And I'm sitting in the director's box. We're at Halifax, another glamorous location, and it was at the Shea, and I was sitting there, and the director's box is right near the pitch, and so the Watford directors and their wives are saying, "What are they singing?" And my mum's going, "Nothing." No, they're not singing it. And you know what? They're standing right in front of me, and if you're prepared to come out and say what you are, and you know, live your life the way I do, I've never had any trouble with any violence at football matches. They're just good, you know, they're just having a go at you, and you have to take it on the chin. It was embarrassing, I have to say.
Are there any other gay chairmen of football big clubs? Are you the only one?
None that I fancy, anyway.
Surely,
I mean, let's put it like
you're Ken Bates.
Ken Bates and I are not an item. Just a little too old for me. And Doug Ellis, you're safe too. There were a couple. There were a couple when I was...
Who are they?
They're not with us anymore. I'm not telling you who they were. No, but there were a couple of gay chairmen. But it was like, you know, like a masonry thing. You know, two nods to the right and a shake of the elbow. I'll meet you in the ladies, right?
I suppose there must be gay players in the game today, but they don't sort of make their position known.
It's very difficult for people in sport to come out.
It's
very
difficult.
difficult.
Sports jocks, yes, it's difficult.
It's a very macho world that you know, it's very hard.
Yes.
It must be really, if you are gay and you are a sportsman in any shape or form, it's difficult.
Now, we were talking about confronting your problems. It appeared to me that the one that you haven't addressed so far is this business about you spending money. Now, since you were last on the show, it came to light that in 20 months you spent 40 million quid plus £293,000 on flowers in that same 20 months. Now, you must like flowers an awful lot.
I love them.
You do.
Yes. It'll be on my gravestone. He liked flowers.
But I mean, 40 million quid, how can you spend 40 million quid in 20 months?
On art and houses and stuff like that. I mean, that whole thing came about because I was suing my accountants, and I've just won leave to appeal, so I can't really talk about that much.
I know.
I've always been, you know, live for the next day kind of person, live my life as it is. I mean, I do have money in the bank. It's just I got a large sum of money, and rather than, I needed to invest it in art, and I did, and I invested in photography. And I invested it in stuff that really gave me pleasure. I've always been, even when I had a paper round at school, 5 bob at the end of the week, I'd buy my mum something and I'd end up with nothing, or I'd go and buy a record and that would be it. I've always been that kind of person. And I pay, you know, people said, aren't you ashamed, it's disgraceful? And I said, well, you know, I pay my taxes, I've always lived here. How I spend my money is irrelevant, really. But yes, I did spend that amount of money. And am I ashamed of it? No, I'm not. So...
Was that a put down?
Was it a put down? On what?
On me. You
Why?
said,
Because you're a stingy git?
No.
No, it wasn't. What do you mean?
No, I just wondered if you thought that was not a question.
No, I don't mind answering that question. It's, you know, I've talked about it, and it's me.
My favourite story about your impulse buying is the day you bought a tram in Melbourne.
I did buy a tram in Melbourne.
You did?
I wasn't well at the time. I was imbibing of a few substances, but I thought if they're selling these trams to San Francisco, I'll have one. And it actually didn't cost me that much money to have a tram, but to get it over to England was another thing.
The one thing that your life's not been ever is boring, isn't it?
I don't think so. No,
It certainly hasn't. But looking back on your life from this position you are now, where you're sort of clean, free from addiction and that sort of thing, what was the most difficult thing that you had to confront in terms of addiction? Was it drugs or was it booze?
I think it was a combination of both.
Was it?
I mean, my main drug of choice is food. I have trouble with my weight, and that's everyone. It's a truth. I mean, before I took drugs and drink, I found solace in food, and I would go up and down like a yo-yo in weight. But I think the combination of cocaine and drink, it was very, very hard. And listening to George, it's different. Everybody goes through it in a different way. Everybody recovers in a different way.
Yes.
And George was saying about Alcoholics Anonymous. I did go for 3 years, and then I couldn't stand it by listening to everybody talking about the misery of the past. I wanted to look forward to the future, and it's not for everybody, but it has, as George said, saved millions and millions of lives. It's fantastic. But every individual is different.
I was thinking that when you're talking about food, actually, the addiction to food.
Yeah.
You told me a porky the last time you were on this show.
A porky?
A porky.
Yeah.
Because I asked you about you having an eating disorder, and you said you didn't have one. And in your book, madam, you do actually confess to having had one.
What I actually said in the book is that I was never anorexic, I was never bulimic, but I messed around with silly diets, fad diets when I was actually younger. But instantly the press pick up on that, put a picture of me looking thin and say, oh, she was saying she was anorexic. I've always said that I wasn't, and I haven't been. But like many women out there, I messed around with silly diets.
Did you?
So I wouldn't actually call that an eating disorder. So that's what it was, rather than, actually starvation.
Yeah.
So I didn't lie to you. You asked me if I was anorexic, and I said no.
That's a fine point, yes. But I mean, how do you decide, what made you decide to become ill, or what?
No, I mean, at the time, something else I talk about in the book is I had polycystic ovaries, which again is something I'm sure lots of women can relate to.
Those polycystic ovaries, they're a bloody nightmare. I'm in the middle of a concert once, and I said, I've got to go off, I've got my polycystic ovaries.
And off he topped
That was on your own, yeah. So I was actually a lot bigger at the time. So when I was messing around with diets, nobody actually realised that I wasn't eating properly. So then I actually, I have Brooklyn, and I get rid of these polycystic ovaries, as you say, and I actually lost a lot of weight. And, and staying the weight that I am now, which is what I naturally am. But when the problem was there, is no one knew. Because these things are making me swell up.
Right?
Those making me swell up. They make you really fat, and they make you,
Maybe I've still gone then. I thought
I think we were talking about some stuff on this show. All human life is there. So then, now the future, because you're busy as ever. I mean, you always look forward and never back. It's been another characteristic of yours as well. So what's next up then, apart from promoting the backside of this record of yours?
I'm going to America. I'm touring in America, and then...
Has that been affected by what happened over there?
Well, the dates already went on sale, so they'd already been up for sale. I was due to play America in New York, in Madison Square Garden in October, but I put that back to November because I just think it's too soon.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but I'm going to be just touring around, making my Winifred Atwell tribute record.
Yes. Well, we'll wait that.
And I'm just going to my other piano, trying to get a few football matches in when I come back to see Watford. And, just
You're not doing too well, are you, your club, actually, at present?
It's early days. We played 7 games. Come on.
You haven't played Barnsley yet, have you?
Barnsley yet? No.
That could be a crucial match.
A crucial match, yes. They're not doing exactly great either.
No,
it's early days
But
yet.
we haven't got an trendy Italian coach, you see.
No, but you wouldn't know with that. He wouldn't know with that, no. That bloody Yorkshire bloke, He's not trendy, he's just Italian.
That's right.
They said that about Ericsson, didn't they? England's football's gone to the dogs now, he's hired a Swede.
Yeah,
Then, like, 8 months or 6 months later, it's like, oh, he's great, he's fantastic.
He's the best thing that's happened to English football
He's
for a while.
calm, he's collected, he's a gentleman, I think. And Dave will tell you, the players really like him.
What is it they like about him?
Everything. He's
Everything.
just so calming around the players, and that shows the way they're playing at the moment. You know, it's a very young team and a very inexperienced team, but everyone's so calm around the manager, and that's the way he puts himself across to us, and it shows on the pitch.
Yeah.
And that started with Peter Taylor, really, bringing the younger players in, which thank God he did. I mean, it's the same with cricket and every sport in this country. They never seem to, you know, how are players ever going to get the experience at club or international level if they don't play the younger players? I mean,
Quite right.
I mean, John Barnes was in our team at 16 at Watford, and it, you know, he just went straight in. And I always think young players are hungry. They have no fear. They don't have any respect. They're not been, you know, blunted by the people in the dressing room. They're
Not
hungry.
cynical.
No, not like you and I.
Oh, no, you mean you-
And most of them don't have polycystic ovaries.
This is true, yeah.
And so they, you know, that's the same as Sven. He's had his taken out, and that's why he's been so successful. He's an ovary-less Swede.
We've run out of time, sadly,
Right.
with all this talk of various things. But Elton John, thank you very much indeed, Elton John. So that's it, and thank you for watching. My thanks to Elton John, George Best, David and Victoria Beckham. Join us next week when our guests are Bob Geldof, Victoria Wood and Anne Widdicombe. Until then, from all of us here, a very good night. Good night.